information technology and overview ये फर्स्ट लेक्चर था सेकंड लेक्चर जो मैंने पिछली बार भेजा है आपको ये लेक्चर की पीपीटी है
भेजो जरा यार लेकिन मेरे को कौन सा
जो वो आप सिंक कर रहे थे वो वाला था
लेक्चर पर नाम लिखो
अच्छा थोड़ी देर भेजो
ये है क्या पीपीटी है
हाँ
कंप्यूटर सॉफ्टवेयर
दोनों को इस बार आपको कैसे है Good morning, dear learners. Welcome to teaching learning session. Today I will discuss about computer software. In our last lecture, we discussed about computer hardwares. And in this, we'll discuss about computer software in details. Software, in layman terms, if I say, software is what? Software is something which I could not touch, which I could not feel. Right? Our software collectively refers to the various kinds of programs used to operate computers and related devices. There are the various programs, and these programs make my computer devices, make all my computer hardware operatable. Without software, I cannot operate my computer devices. So it's a collection of programs which makes my computer hardware or computer devices operatable. Now, what is program? Program is a sequence of instructions that a computer can interpret and execute, right? So it's what is program? Sets of instructions written in English or any language, written in a language, and which a computer can execute and interpret, and then computer converts that language into binary code 0 and 1. So what is software? Software is collection of programs, bunch of programs which makes my hardware operatable. And program is what? Program is nothing but a set of instructions which computer can execute and interpret, right? Hardware, now what is hardware? When I said ki, it makes my hardware operatable, hardware are all physical components of the computers and related devices. Your printer, your monitor, your camera, all these things are the hardware devices. Hardware devices are the physical component I can touch, I can feel, I can see the hardwares, right? When a program is in use, the computer reads it from the storage devices and temporarily places the instructions in the random access memory, that is in the RAM. The process of fetching and then performing the instruction is called the running or executing the program. When I said it's program is a set of instruction which computer can read and execute. What is execution? Execution is when a computer reads the messages, reads the program in use from the memory storage devices and temporarily places it in the RAM. That fetching and then performing the instruction is called the running or execution of a program. Right? A RAM, random access memory, we discussed about the RAM in our last lecture in detail. Software program and procedures that are permanently stored in the computer's read-only memory ROM is called the firmware. In RAM, the programs are temporarily stored, and when the what is that known as? That is known as fetching or execution of the program. But there are certain programs or the procedure that are permanently stored in the computer's read-only memory, that is in the ROM, and those programs are known as the firmware. Firmware programs written or stored in the ROM, permanent programs stored in the read-only memory, that those programs, those software are known as firmware, right? Those programs are known as the firmware. There are two main types of softwares: system software and application software. If we divide software, we can divide it into two categories: the system software and the application software. What is application software? Application software consists of the program that are aimed to help the user in solving a particular computing program. Those are the programs, those programs which helps the user to solve the particular programs, like MS Office is an application program, Photoshop Adobe is an application program, right? All these are the application program because it helps the user to solve a particular problem, computation problem. While the system software is popular. What is the system software? System software are the operating system or the drivers or the hardware drivers or the compiler. It encompasses the program that are heavily interact with the computer resources and provide services to the other programs. System software basically gives us a platform. It makes our system software makes our hardware operatable, and it gives us a platform on which the user can use the application program. If you are not able to boot your system, right? If operating system is not there on your system, right? You cannot use any of the application program. You cannot run any of the application program. You cannot use your PPTs, Excel, or any of the application programs, Word or Notepad or Adobe Photoshop or Corel Draw or anything else. You cannot use. So operating system software is that software that interacts with the computer resources and provides services to the application program. Example of system software are the compilers, operating systems. It makes the software, it gives us a platform. It works as an intermediary between the hardware and the application software. Between the hardware and the software, it makes the hardware operatable, on which the user can use the application program to solve a particular problem, right? Operating system is an example of a system software. What is operating system? Operating system is nothing but the set of computer programs that control the computer hardware and act as an interface with application program, right? It controls software means computer program that controls the computer. Now operating system is a computer program that makes the computer hardware operatable and act as an interface with application program. It acts an intermediary or as an interface between the user application program and the hardware. The operating system plays a central role in functioning of a computer system. Without operating system, you cannot operate your computer. The first and foremost requirement to make your computer operatable, operating system should be there. Right? There are many types of operating system like Linux is an operating system, Windows, Macintosh, Unix, all these are the operating system. Right? Operating systems are usually stored on the disk. After computer system is started or booted up, a portion of operating system are transferred to a memory as required. Right? There are various functions of operating system. What are the functions of operating system? Operating system performs the computer. It makes the computer hardware operatable. It makes the computer hardware functionable. Right? It provides a interface. It acts as an interface between the hardware and the application program. It provides a degree of hardware independence. Right? Any of the without there is no there is if there is no particular demand from a particular application software, it makes the hardware, if you even if you use any of the hardware, it hardly matters whether your hardware is upgraded or not. You can use your application software. Right? It makes the degree of hardware independence despite of any type of the hardware you use, whether you are using SD-RAM or DD-RAM, or whether your hard disk is 64, or whether your bus operating system is 32 GB or for 34 bit or 32 bit or 64 bit. It makes it the hardware independence. The next program of operating system is managing the memory system. It manages the memory. Right? Because we have a limited memory, and it is very important to manage the memory, and it is the responsibility of operating system to manage the memory, how to store the data in the operating system. Operating systems do take care of all these things. Right? Managing processing tasks of the system software. It means multitasking. It helps us in doing multitasking. Right? Managing it means managing processing tasks. How you can you utilize the how you can utilize your computer system efficiently. That is making the processing task. Computer software providing the networking capabilities. That is another function of operating system. And controlling access to system resources and managing files. Common hardware function. Despite of all those functions, there are certain other functions, hardware functions. All application must perform certain task. Example, getting inputs from the keyboard or some other input devices. This is responsibility of operating system. Retrieving data from the disk. This is a function of operating system. Storing data on the disk is function of storing system, operating system. And displaying information on a monitor or printer. Hardware independence, which is a function, which is one of the functions of the operating system. As I told you, application makes use of operating system by making request for services through defined application program interface, that is API. Programmers can use API to create an application software without having to understand the working of the operating system. How operating system is working, there is no need to understand the operations of operating system. There is no need to understand about your hardware, and programmer can make the programs, right, using API. Memory management, function of operating system. The purpose of memory management is to control how memory is accessed and maximize available memory and storage, because we have a we have a limited memory spaces. So it is very important to manage the memory. So it is the responsibility of the operating system, or operating system manages the and controls the memory system, how memory will be accessed and maximize. It makes the maximize available system of the memory and storage devices. The memory management features of many operating system allows the computer to execute the instruction efficiently and effectively with speed. Processing task means multitasking and the time sharing. That is the task management allotted to the computer resources that make the best use of system assets. What is multitasking? Multitasking means a software may permit one user to run several programs or the task at the same time. Suppose you are working on the Excel sheet, you are working on Adobe Photoshop, as well as you are taking the notes on the Word. That is, you are doing multitasking, right? This is multitasking, that it permits the user to run several program or the task at the same time. That is known as the multitasking. Time sharing is it allows the several user to use the same computer at the same time. Suppose if you are ordering something, or if you are going through some e-commerce website, not only you but n number of people might be going through that website and must be ordering something, then the operating system of that uh, particular computer shares the time with each and every user of that particular server, so that everyone can browse or order through that or go through that website, right? That is known as time sharing. And this is time sharing, even you don't come to know that you are sharing your time, that you are in a queue. It completes its work in few seconds, nanoseconds in fact. Networking capabilities. Next function of operating system is networking capabilities. The operating system can provide the features and capabilities that aid user in connected to a computer network. That is with the help of this you can connects to the computer network. What is computer network? Collection or the logical arrangement of a computers or in a particular order is known as computer network. That it should be a logical order or in a particular system is known as the network. Access to system resources. Next is access to system resources. Computer often handle sensitive data that can be accessed over networks, and the operating system need to provide a high level of security against the unauthorized access to user data and the programs, because there could be sensitive data, and that has to be accessed over the network, and it is responsibility of the operating system to provide security to access the unauthorized against the unauthorized access, so that no unauthorized person can access our data, right? Operating system establish a logon procedure that require user to fill the credential. If credential matches with the credentials given at the time of creation of the credential, that is your name, username or the password, then only you can operate the system, otherwise you cannot operate the system, right? It shows that you are an unauthorized user. File management, another function of operating system. It ensures that files are available to CPU when needed, and they are protected from access of unauthorized user. It is not like that the files are it is not like that files are stored in a sequence. Files might not be stored in a sequence. It might be stored at some another chunks, and whenever you request for a files, the operating system within the fractions of second collect all the chunks, all the segments of the file, and uh, provide it to you, right? So it makes sure that the files are available to the CPU when needed, and it is protected from the unauthorized user. Then another type of system software, language translator. The CPU, also called the processor of a computer, understand the commands in the machine language, where each instruction is a series of binary digits. Whatever you type in any of the language, computer only understand the binary language, that is language of 0 or 1. Whatever you type, there is an ASCII code for this, and that ASCII code has been converted into the binary code, that is in the language of 0 and 1, and the computer reads that 0 and 1, and it is that is known as that conversion. That 0 and 1 language is known as the machine language. So computer understand only the machine language. To help the program, other high-level programming language have been developed whose instructions are easy to remember for the program as the language use of English word. But it is very difficult for a human being to remember and learn the machine language. You cannot learn that code 0101 code. So what has been done, that a high level programming languages have been developed, which could be in English language or any other words which you can write. We have written the language translator. There is an ASCII code for each and every character, and this has been converted into that ASCII character. ASCII code has been converted into binary language or the machine language, right? For any program to be executed, it is first converted into its equivalent machine language, that is language of 0 and 1, and then loaded into the computer memory, performs the to perform the translation program, language translator are used. That is conversion of the high level language, that is the English language or any other language, into machine language. It has been done by a translator, and this is known as the conversion, right? The conversion of the high level language into the machine language, it has been done by the translator. What are assemblers? Translator, I hope you understand what are translator. User understands the high level language. They code in high level language, that is in the English language or any of the language they can understand, and that high level language is converted into the machine language. Machine language is what? Binary code, language of 0 and 1, which the computer understand. This conversion of the high level programming language into machine language is known as the translation, and this has been done by the translators. Assembler. The computer software that translates the assembly language program into corresponding machine language program is known as assemblers. Assemblers are those which converts the assembly language into high level language, right? Machine level language, that is known as assembler. What are compiler and interpreter? Compiler and interpreter are used to translate the high level programming language into machine level programming language. Assembly level, there are the various types of the language. The one type of level language is the assembly level language. When you write coding in the assembly language, the computer, the assembler converts that assembly language into machine language, that is known as the assembler. Compiler and interpreter. Compiler and interpreter are used to translate the high level of program language into machine language program, that are known as the compiler, right? And interpreter is a program which directly execute a program in a given programming language. How compilers work and how interpreter works. Source code, then compiler converts that high level language into machine code and then gives the output. While what interpreters do, interpreter converts the source code directly to the output. Interpreter program which directly executes a program in a given programming language, that is known as interpreter. That is the only difference between compiler and the interpreter. Compiler, the source compiler first convert the source code into machine code and then gives the output. Interpreter directly converts the source code into output. Difference between the compilers and interpreter. What are the differences between the compilers and interpreter? Interpreter is a language translator that reads the source code line by line and execute them one by one, right? Interpreter reads the language, or the language translator is a language translator that reads the source language one by one. That is, an interpreter is a language. It will read the program and will convert and execute them one by one, while compiler first read the complete source code and then generates the object code. It first reads the whole source code, whole program, and then generates the object code. Interpreter has an advantage that the process of translation takes less time. Interpreter has an advantage that process of translation takes more time. Interpreter are mostly used for educational purposes. When you are teaching someone, then you use the interpreter so that you can come to know what are the problems in any of the line. If and compilers are generally used when the efficiency of the generated binary, that is machinery program, is required. It in the compiler increases the efficiency of the program, while interpreter used for the education purpose. Now application software. All this was about the system software. Application software. What is application software? Application software is a complete self-contained program that performs a specific function directly for a user. Right? It performs the function for a user. If you want to draw something, use Corel Draw. We use Corel Draw. If we want to makes PPTs, PowerPoint presentation, we use PPTs. If we want to take notes, we use a notepad or the Word. Right, all these are the application software. There is, if we want to Photoshop something, we use Adobe Photoshop, or there are various another type of applications program available. Right, application software may consist of a single program or a collection of programs. Right, it could be a single program or it could be a collection of a small programs or the program. The general application programs like your Google Docs, like your Google Drive, Paint, PDF, right, PowerPoint, Mail, Outbox, all these are your Netflix, OTT platforms, all these are your application softwares. I hope this is clear. Generation of programming language. How programming language has been generated? Machine language. The first generation of computer programming language is known as machine language. Programs in machine language consist of codes 0 and 1s. Thus, the alphabet of machine language are 0 and 1. There is a machine language corresponding to each microprocessor available. Means what does it mean? The first generation of computer programming language is machine language, that is 0101 code, because computer understand only the sequence of 0 and 1, 0101, and there was a corresponding language for each microprocessor available, right? And this language of 0 or 1 is known as the machine language, right? After machine language comes the assembly language, and it was very difficult for the user to remember combinations of 0 and 1, so it was difficult for user to understand, to remember that 0 and 1, so the usage of computer was very limited. Then came the assembly language. The second generation of computer programming language started using mnemonics like ADD sub to represent machine language instruction and storage location. Assembly language is also machine dependent. Then assembler. What was the assembler? That converts the assembly language into machine language. Assembly language again is also machine dependent. That is, there is a corresponding assembly language for each microprocessor. Right? It is machine dependent. Then comes the third generation of languages, that is 3GL. 3GL, third generation language, are English-like language, right? They use statements and the commands which are similar to the words used in English. 3G are easier to learn but less efficient in use of computer resources as compared to machine and the assembly language. Typically, a statement of 3GL is translated into many instructions of the memory language. Example of 3GR is C, COBOL, Pascal, Fortran. All these are 3GLs. So, 3GL is what? 3GL, third generation language. These are English-like language. We user writes the commands in the English language. It is similar to the words used in the English. Now, but the problem is it is less efficiently. It is less efficiently uses the computer sources because it has this language has to be converted into uh, assembly or the machine language, which takes the time and which decreases the efficiency of the computer resources, right? And again the disadvantage of 3GL, it was again the machine specific, right? Example was the C, Pascal, Basic, Fortran, COBOL. Fourth generation language, then came the fourth generation language, are less procedural and even more English like than 3GL language. The emphasis is more on the output format than the procedure applied to achieve the results. It was on the output. And then came the object oriented languages or programming. Object oriented programming is a type of programming in which programmer defines the data type and structure of data. In addition, the operation, that is the functions that can be applied to data, is also defined. What is data type? Object-oriented program. Object-oriented program means user can define the data type, which type of data type you use, whether you want to use the numeric type of a data, whether you use to character type of a data, string type of a data. If you want to write the name, then use the user can use the string, right? If you use only one or two character, then user uses the character type of a data. If user wants to store the number, then user can use the numeric type of a data, right? And it can perform various type of functions like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication on any of the numbers, right? It can be defined in the object oriented programming language. The data and function together known as the object, and programmer can create relationship between the object. Why it is known as object oriented program? Object, the data and the functions which it performs, that together is known as objects, right? Objects can inherit the characteristics of the another object. It is like the child can inherit the characteristic of a parent, then one object can inherit the characteristic of the another object, right? Example, Java, C++, all these are object oriented programming language. One of the principal advantage of object oriented programming technique, our procedural programming technique, is that they enable the programs to create modules that do not need to be changed when the new type of objects is needed. That you can create a small modules of the program. If some of the object has been changes, there is no need to change the whole program, just change that module in which that object is present, right? So example is Java and C++. There are we discuss about the various types of programming language. The first was the machine language, the second was the assembly language, then came the machine language, assembly language, then came the uh, third generation language, then came fourth generation language, and then the object oriented language. So there are the five stages of the languages. Now, difference between the application software and the system software. What is the difference between application and system software? System software get installed when the operating system is installed on the computer, while application software is installed according to the requirement of the user. Whatever application software you want, you just install that software, and whenever the operating system has been installed, automatically system software has been installed. System software includes programs such as compilers, interpreter, assembler, drivers. Application software includes software to automate the business processes like your office, like ERP, like SAP, like CRM, right? All these are the examples of application program. Operating system generally use in operating software generally user do not interact with the system software as it works in the background, and in application software user interacts with the application software while doing different activities. While we perform the different activities, system these user interact with the software. A computer may not require more than one type of a system software. There may be n number of application software program installed on the computer at the same time. There could be like your OTT program, right? Your Gmail, your Outlook, another type of the mail, then your Office, Adobe, Photoshop, all those are the application software. There could be the n number of software. While the computer may not require more than one type of the system software, we generally use one type of operating system. At times we use more than the one. Rarely we use more than one type, install more than one type of operating system on our system. System software can run independently of application software, and application cannot run without the presence of system software. System software can run independently of the application software, while application program is dependent on the software. Until and unless you have a computer operating system installed on your computer system, you cannot use your softwares, application softwares. Why? You if you don't have application software but you have mm, operating system installed on your system, that is perfectly all right. I hope this is clear to everyone. So today we discussed about the application software, about the system software. Now we will discuss about the networking technology. What is networking? What is network? Arrangement of a computer system in a particular logical way is network. That is, arrangement of a system in a particular logical way is known as network. What is internet? Network of network is known as internet. A network may consist of hardware component as well as software component. It doesn't only mean the hardware component, it also includes the software component. So arrangement of a computer system in a particular logical way is known as network, and the network system consists of the hardware as well as software components. The hardware components of networks. What all are the hardware components of the network? What all we need? We need a server or a host computer. Host is a computer that has a data to be transmitted. So host computer, hardware components, we need a host computer. What is the host computer? Host computer is that computer which fulfill the requirements of the client. Means host is a computer that has data to be transmitted. It we store each and every data on the host, and then it transmit the requested data. It has data stored and Whenever you request for any of the data, the route has been selected by the router, and this selection, the path through which data travel from host to the client, it is known as the circuit or the path. Network hub. What is networks hub? Network hub is a node that broadcasts data to every computer or Ethernet based devices connected to it. A hub is less sophisticated and cheaper than switch. What is switch? A switch is multicast networking device that connects a bunch of computers or devices in a network. Its main use to send the private messages at is does not waste the data. What is switch? Switch is a networking device. What does it do? It connects a bunch of computers in a network. So it's a hardware, it's a network device, and it helps to connect the bunch of computer devices on the network. With the help of a switch, you do this. What is router? A router is again a networking device that operates to connect two or more networks, while switch used to connect switch connects few uh, few hardware devices, few computer systems, while router is a device that operates to connect two or more networks. It connects more networks. It is a device that establishes a common link between the network to enable the data flow between them. A router decides how data will flow from one network to another network. How data will flow from one system to another system. It uses the IP address of the device to transfer the data between the network. Whenever router, understand router is nothing but a network device. What does it do? It connects the two network, right? It acts as a common link to establish a link between the network and between the networks, and it decides how data will flow from one network to another network, and it uses the IP address to transfer the data from one network or between the networks. Firewall. What is firewall? Firewall is network security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on predetermined security rules. Firewall typically establish a barrier between the trusted network and the untrusted network, such as internet. Firewall is what? It is a network security system. What does it do? It monitors and controls the incoming and outgoing network traffic. On what basis it monitors and controls the incoming and outgoing process? On the predetermined security rule. That is, on predetermined security rules, firewall monitors and controls the outgoing network traffic, and it is a security system, network security system. Firewall typically establishes a barrier between the trusted and the untrusted network. If firewall feels like that network is not trusted, then you cannot transfer or that network cannot transfer the data to that system or to another network. There are various types of network like LAN, WAN, MAN. What is LAN? LAN area network or local area network. A local area network connects the computers that are in the same building. The network spread over a few kilometers also comes under LAN. The LAN is usually realized using Ethernet technology or token ring technology. What is LAN? A local area network. As the name suggests, it is a network of local area. Local area means what? The local area network is that could be a building, or that could be range over a few kilometers only. Basically 1 or 2 kilometer up to 5 kilometers, right? The prime objective of LAN is to facilitate the information and resources sharing within an organization. For example, an application software which is used by many people in the organization can be installed on the server, and then they can share through the network, they can share that application software, right? So it helps in getting the information and sharing the resources. This computer is connected to other computer by LAN, and everybody can use the same software because it has been shared. The machine on which software is installed is called server. Is it clear? Metropolitan area network. Next, local area network. After local area networks comes MAN. Metropolitan area network is a computer network that is larger than a single building of local area network, but it is located in a single geographical area that is smaller than a wide area network. It is like within a colony or a town or a city, that is man, within located in a single geographical area, that is smaller than the wider area network. It could be up to 50 kilometers. Traditionally, it refers to the private data network used by single organization in several buildings, or by several organizations interconnected in the same geographical vicinity. The size usually ranges from 5 kilometer to 50 kilometer, because up to 5 kilometer we call it as a LAN. From 5 to 50 kilometer it is MAN. MAN is used by the organization which has many offices, or which wants to share the data, and those offices are in the same vicinity, that is ranges from 5 to 50 kilometer range. So
Hello
man
learners,
is
today topic is
computer
from
network
sorting
ranges
algorithms,
from
one of
5
the
to
most
50
popular sorting
kilometer.
algorithms.
Next is the wide area network. Wide area network connects a computer in a different cities or countries. The network to connect computers that are thousands of miles apart is not built by an organization. Instead, the organization uses leased telephone lines. Wide area network. Metropolitan area is up to 50 kilometer, and above 50 kilometer, that is up to any extent, that is wide area network. Wide area network computers of the different cities or countries have been connected, and it is not possible for any of the organization to build the thousands of to connect the computers, those who are thousands of miles apart. For this they uses the leased telephone lines, right? So it has been used in the internet is an example of wide area network. Now what is internet? Internet or net or internetwork is a connection of two or more networks, so that computer on the one network can communicate with computer on the another network. What is internet? Another easy definition of internet could be the network of networks is known as internet, or it is connection between two or more networks, so that computer on the one network can communicate with the computer on another network, or network of networks is known as internet. Now, what is router? Router is also called a gateway, act as an interface between the two networks, because earlier I told you router is the one which connects the two networks. If I have an A network and a network B, then this router act as an interface, and it connects the network A with network B. It acts as an interface between the two networks. The internet has no central administration, but there are protocols which are to be followed by the network, because internet is widely dispersed, widely used. It is network of network, thousands, or it is widely used. So there is no one can administrate or single-handedly administrate that internet, but there are certain protocols which one has to follow if you want to use the internet, right? And each network follows that protocol. Internet, network of network, is known as internet. Now what is intranet? Intranet connects the internal computing resources of an organization. If I have an organization and I have say 10 computers and 2 printers and one switch, then when I connect all these my systems together, that is known as intranet. Intranet connects the internal computer resources of a organization. What is the prime motive of this intranet? The prime motive is information sharing. When I want to share the information without moving from my desk, then I can drop a message or I can drop a mail to anyone, and everyone can read that message or a mail, right? With the help of a web browser, or many other applications are available which I can use. So the main aim is for information sharing. It saves a lot of time. Layered architecture. Layered architecture, this architecture is very important. The International Standard Organization, that is ISO, developed a framework for computer communication. How one computer will communicate with another computer. As I said, there are protocols which every organization, which everyone has to follow. So ISO developed a framework for computer communication with the objective of providing the standard. And the model provided by ISO is known as OSI. OSI is Open System Interconnection Reference Model, right? So ISO provided an OSI model, that is Open System Interconnection Model, and it has 7 layers. Before I proceed further, what is protocol? Protocol is nothing but set of rules. Which set of rules is known as protocols. There are 7 layers. This is OSI model given by ISO. On one side there is a sender, and on another side there is a receiver, right? And the 7 layers is the application. The first layer is the physical layer, second layer is the data link layer, third layer is the network layer, fourth layer of this model is transport layer, fifth is session layer, sixth is presentation layer, and seventh is application layer. Repeating again, first layer is starting from bottom. First layer is physical layer, second layer is data link layer, third layer is networking layer, transport layer, then comes session layers, then presentation layer, and the seventh layer is application layer. What is application layer? Application layer is the top layer, and it provides a user with interface to the network. The purpose is to provide a set of utilities of application programs. Application program, we discussed about the application program in this lecture. So this provides a platform to use the application programs, right? It provides the utilities for the application program. And then comes the sixth layer is the presentation layer. The presentation layer, what presentation layer do? It compresses or uncompresses the data, right? Then comes the session layer. Session layer, the responsibility of session layer is to initiate, maintain, and terminate the network session on behalf of the application. If The session layer, as the name indicates, session, the responsibility of the session layer is to initiate the session, to maintain the session, and to terminate the session. What type of a session? Network session on behalf of application program. Transport layer, transport name indicates it transports the data, right? This layer is responsible for creating data units called the packets for data to be transmitted. Whenever the data has been transmitted, it has not been transmitted as it is. It has been broken into the packets, a small packets, and then we attach um, a head and a tail to that packet. The head and the tail contains the recipient address and the destination address destination address, sender address, and the number of packets. There could be the n number of packets. The data can be broken into the n number of packets, and it is not if there are, suppose if there are the 10 number of packets, then it is not necessary that it will travel, the first number will travel first, then second, then third, then fourth, and the fourth could be travel first, then the second could be received on the second number, and then then receiver can receive the 10th. But how it will flow, the transport layer decides that. Network layer, the layer accepts the messages generated by the transport layer, and its responsibility is to route the packets to the destination. How it will route? It is not it is not compulsory that it will select a single route for a whole data to be transmitted. It can select n number of routes. It depends on many things. The first and foremost thing is on the traffic. Where there is a less traffic, it can transmit the data. Then the distance it took the shortest path, right? It prefers to take the shortest path. So transport layer transmits the data, and network layer the responsibility is to route the packets. Data link layer responsible for initiating the physical transmission of the data. The layer detects and corrects the error that might have occurred through the transmission. As I told you that the packet number 10 might have received first, then 8, then 7, then 3, then 5, then 6, then 1. Then the data link layer arrange all these packets in a sequential order, right? And if there is any error, then it detects and corrects the error. The physical layer, then comes the physical layer. The physical layer is concerned with transmission of data bits. The layer defines rule of transmission such as voltage. So it is the topmost layer. It transmits the data bits. TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. What is this? TCP/IP is a protocol suite which consists of a protocol for all 4 layers. This suite is used for internet as well as for intranet. 70% of all network uses TCP/IP. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol, and IP stands for Internet Protocol. Protocol is what? As I told you earlier, protocol is nothing but the set of rules, and whenever you have to transmit the data on the intranet and the internet, you have to follow the rules. Then only you can transfer the data, otherwise you cannot transfer the data. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Namaskar.